Hello. Is it working? It's working. It's working. We're live. We're here. Hello, everybody, for coming back for another episode of the wonderful How the Book of Jubilees Makes Sense to Richard, or the Book of Jubilees Explained, whichever way you want to look at it. uh, we are just about to start chapter 3 this week. It should be quite good. We'll see how far we get into it. I can shout out to Melis. Minnow, Mr. Willis, Marty's here. We've got Richard there as well. Yeah, that's everybody. There's nobody else here. Thanks everybody for coming. Get away from fucking, stop watching Sammy's and come over here, you fucking lovely people. As a few people in the chat know, and I informed Richard earlier, we'll do a wee quick, let me see if I can find the page. I was chatting to a person on Twitter, and this is the particular person, and there we are. We have this guy hopefully coming on next week. Next week we will be a wee bit earlier. He is the Associate Professor of Near Eastern Languages and Literatures at Norwegian School of Theology, Religion and Society. And this is the, where is it down here? That's the most important part there and why I reached out. He got his PhD doing his dissertation on the Dead Sea Scrolls and specifically information from the Book of Jubilees. So we were thinking that this should be an interesting conversation. And his opinion is that the Bible is written backwards. So to that point, Richard may agree a wee bit with it. But yeah, all going well. Next week, though, we will be a wee bit earlier. It'll be 1:30 for Richard's time. It'll be 8:30 for my time, and it'll be 2:30 for other people in Eastern Standard. But yeah, that'll be happening next week. That should be a very good conversation. He said he should be around for about an hour and a half or so. So we look forward to that next week. We look forward to talking to Matt. That should be fun. But for tonight, we will try and make a wee bit further through the Book of Jubilees. And yeah, Richard, beautiful voice.
I should take some coaching from you on how to like get a hold of scholars like that and get them to agree to such conversations.
I poke them on Twitter.
You poke them on Twitter?
Yes. Someone suggested to me that Kip Davis was a Dead Sea Scrolls scholar. He's done shows on YouTube. I left a comment under one of his things, on his tweets, and he tagged this guy and was like, this guy knows more. I reached out. Guy said yes. It's as easy as that.
So it's as easy as getting some other known scholar to tag somebody. Yeah.
Because they're a specialist. Where I was reaching out to someone, and I even tagged Digital Hammurabi. I was like, oh yeah, not my field of expertise. Here's a person who is good. So,
yep. Dr. Josh is going to be honest about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you presented to Dr. Josh something in the way of, a casual conversation, non-committal,
Well, that's what I said. I was
gonna,
like, me and you have been friends for years. It's a very relaxed atmosphere. It should just be a chat. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, not interested in attacking anyone. Okay, so alien overlords. That's the deal. Alien overlords. Ancient human beings that possibly evolved the same way that we did. We think we did, which is why we think we evolved that way. Terraforming or what do they call that? What's the word for that?
Panspermia.
Panspermia. Specifically directed panspermia.
Oh, directed
panspermia. Terraforming this planet in several stages, which is why we see those stages. Imitating the evolutionary process that happened on what was their homeworld that they had to escape because they were too smart to be slaves. And they got to be too many in number, and they got to be a problem, and they had to leave. And seeing how well this fits into that scenario. Anything else?
No, I think that's you've covered the basics, like.
Okay, and on the 6 days of the second week, we brought, according to the word of God, unto Adam all the beasts and all the cattle and all the birds and everything that moves on the earth, and everything that moves in the water according to their kinds and according to their types. Disengage brain, engage mouth. the beasts of the first day on the first day, the cattle of the second day, the birds of the third day, and all that which moves on the earth on the fourth day, and that which moves in the water on the fifth day. Okay, so here we are still in Genesis.
Right, so it's at the sixth day. Okay, so it says on the sixth day of the second week. So we're now a 2nd week, and there's things being created, and it goes through them that's created on the 5 days. My question to you is, from whose point of view do you feel that this is being written? And on the 6 days of the second week, we brought. Would you assume that was then angels?
I like that "we" right there, because it should be "we" throughout all of the book of Genesis, and that's a mistranslation when it says God.
Right, so you're agreeing that it would be angels to a point then, or...
Yes.
Right.
Yes, it would have been angels. It wouldn't have been the God. That's wrong. And I don't know. This is all kind of vague, and I want to be not too hypercritical. It's just the same story. Adam names the animals.
Well, it is that, but as we've pointed out, there's differences in the text. There's different inclusions in it. And we did poll a vote before, and people want us to read it all. So, verse 2, chapter 3, verse 2, Richard, go on ahead.
Yeah. And Adam named them all by their respective names. That's kind of a weird phrase, but okay, we'll work with it in English.
It made my eyes go up as well. How could it be a respective, with, like, you looked at it and it had 4 legs, so you called it the 4-legged thing? That would be...
Oh, that's not respective. Respective means individualizing, like differentiating between one and the other. So it's kind of repetitive, but we'll live with it. You are in your 30s. Your child in their 5s ish, respectively.
Ah, right.
Okay.
Still, names
so
are weird.
I could say of your family, one of them is 35 and the other one is 5, respectively.
Yeah, but that's makes sense. This doesn't. Using that term.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's clumsy.
It probably means in an order, which is why the translation, the more recent ones would say one by one or one after the other.
Yeah. Yeah, something like that. Let's see, whatever he called them, that was their name. And on these 5 days, Adam saw all these, male and female, according to every kind that was on earth, but he was alone and found no helpmeet for him. That is, everything else has got pairs, but he's a one-off.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only of his kind.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, because he's the first of that kind. So,
according to this reading.
Well, according to all of it, everywhere, there's always the first man, the first thing that is human being.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that Lilith was created at the same time as Adam, out of the same things as Adam.
Really? Because do you know where Lilith comes from?
Jewish and lots of different things.
Jewish what?
Jewish.
No, not Jewish. Not Jewish. Lots of different things. Jewish one thing.
Not the exact book, scripture, or whatever you would like to refer to as.
Okay, it was one considered a rogue, not accepted by his peers, rabbi who extrapolated that was necessary somehow. It's in no way like beginning of the Jewish tradition, church fathers kind
Lilith
of an
is
idea.
tied into lots of different things, not just Jewish and stuff like that. There, like she is just. There's lots of different representations. She's also one of the original mothers of demons and stuff like that there as well.
But that's not how you refer to her. You refer to her as the first wife of Adam, and that's just one scholar a really long time ago.
And stuff and
okay. So it's anti-biblical. She's not in the actual Hebrew text or in the translations into Christianity.
The fact that you said everywhere and I showed you one that's not, that was the point. That was just the point. All right, not to
one that's not what? That there's not a first male?
Lilith is, this is the way it is everywhere. Lilith doesn't, and then I showed you one, said one, and you say, okay.
What? I don't know about that religious story. I'd be happy to review that one next with you.
All I'm saying is, if you make a statement that's so absolute as everything is this way, and I can show you one that's not, I'm not agreeing with that point. I'm just saying there's a story that there is another one that's...
Well, the only problem is I don't know that what you just said is right.
Mhm.
I just don't know that. I mean, we could go into, like, the idea of the mother who gets torn apart and made into, and you say, okay, well, then that one's a female first. You could say something like that.
I don't really care. The only point I brought it up was because you said an absolute statement.
I'm going to stay with it too.
Yeah.
Okay, until proven otherwise. Oh, 3, 5
and
days.
The Lord said unto us, it is not good that the man should be alone. Let us make a helpmeet for him.
Right, and I would take that Lord right there as meaning Satan, which is why it wouldn't come from the idea of Yahweh, which is why they translated it Lord instead of God.
And the Lord said unto us, why not the Father?
Mm-hmm. Because that wouldn't be the same thing as the Father.
Well, why do you
In fact, I've never seen it refer to Satan as the Father or as Yahweh. Never.
In this text here, I'm asking you a question on this text. And it says, the Lord unto us, it is not good the man. Why do you instantly go that that's the devil?
Because I'm trying to justify this to the rest of what I believe.
Right. So you have to take that as the devil.
Sure. I have to.
You have to. Right.
Mm-hmm. Helpmeet for him. And the Lord our God. Well, now these quote unquote angels are not good angels. Or in the Christian conception, we would call these demons. And they're the ones that brought the animals before Adam, which works pretty good for me. I can only keep going and see if that stays consistent.
Just to confirm, this for you is the story of the first Adam.
Yeah.
Okay. Continue.
Which is not the same as us getting to this planet, which is the other iteration of Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And the Lord our God caused a deep sleep to fall upon him, and he slept, and he took for the woman one rib from amongst his ribs, and this rib was the origin of the woman from amongst his ribs, and he built up the flesh in its stead and built the woman. Okay, so genetic cloning. That's how I read that. And he awaked Adam out of his sleep. On awaking, he rose the sixth day, and he brought her to him on the sixth day. Okay, so that's like magical thinking, or...
Why is the mentioning of a time period magical thinking?
Oh, I don't think you could make an adult human clone in 6 days.
No, you don't.
There's just too many cells to reproduce. I don't think it...
According to you, like, you have made statements that would infer that we do not know what technology these people have.
I still think there's limits to how fast a cell can reproduce.
Well, like, when you're going with the whole idea that if you get cut and stuff like that, it very, very quickly heals, you're automatically speeding up cell regeneration.
Okay, well, I also see in the stories that our angels can be killed. They're not immortals.
Oh yeah, we've discussed
eternals.
this before. The difference between immortality and,
So perfect healing of a cut would mean you don't get a bacterial infection. Maybe it needed stitches, but the scars are going to fall off when it's fully healed. That would be full healing. But that doesn't mean it would, like in the movie, with Wolverine with the X-Men, where he gets slashed with a sword and it heals in like 5 minutes or something. It just wouldn't mean that. I don't think that's realistic.
Yeah, well, 5 minutes I don't think's realistic, but a week to grow a human, if you already had, say for talk's sake, blank cells of a human body sitting fully grown, all you had to do was DNA stamp them, so to speak.
Wait, how did it get to be a full-grown human without genetic material? Because
I'm talking about the specifics. No, a basic clone. Think of Gollum.
Ooh, that's nasty. But okay.
You don't have to look at it, and it doesn't look at itself in the mirror. But it's just a basic human with a nose, with all this fully grown human body, but with no stamp on it that makes it me, makes it you.
I
Every
don't think
one
it
of
works
them's
that
the
way.
same. Pardon?
I don't think it works that way.
But you don't know. This is a
No,
plausible way.
I think I do know that. I think we do know that genetic material decides like the form and the features and the functions and the organs. It decides all that.
Richard, these people that you talk about have got complete control of genetics and know everything about it.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah, so they probably have the ability to grow a human to fully form and then just have to stamp it. Like, why would that be so out of control? Like, these people.
The only part I'm objecting to is 24 Earth days, 24-hour Earth days, and 6 of them. That's the part I'm objecting to. Which a lot of Christians would assume right here.
I'm thinking if you look at a movie which is literally named after this, called The Sixth Day.
Uh-huh.
It's got Arnie Schwarzenegger in it, and I'm describing what they do. They grow basic ass clones, and then they get stamped. Like, not with a stamper, but they get stamped, and it takes the guts of. I think in the show they can do it in 24 hours, but it's called The Sixth Day. That's what the movie's called.
It's interesting because it forms man on the 6th day, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they can do it in 24 hours.
It's a minor point. It's a minor point. I'm not going to worry too much about guessing what kind of technology they may or may not have. It's just when I read this, I object to the Christian mindset of 6 literal 24-hour Earth days. Because, I mean, what if their planet, a day is, I don't know, 1,000 years or something?
Yeah, we've recently found one that has 28 hours.
28? Which one's that?
I can't remember the name. I literally only read it yesterday.
I know the sun has a 28-day day. That's how long it takes the sun to make one rotation. Is 28 of our days.
Did not know that off the top of my head.
Yep.
Right.
Not that there's anything intelligent that we know of living on the surface of the sun and like making that observation, or they experience a day that way. But
we're going to tangent. We're getting a specialist on next week. Let's read it.
We're coming right back. Okay. Okay, 6. And he awakened Adam out of his sleep, and on awaking, he rose on the 6th day. Why did you just say that again? And he brought her to him, and he knew her, and said unto her, "What, they had sex immediately? Is that what this is saying? That's what
I don't think it says that. There. Well, I know that you take knew her, but you know it could be he just knew who she was.
Well, what other way could he know her?
Because he knows that she's part of him. Because you, I don't know. It's fucking God and magic, and you know, you're made from me. I can feel
he recognized his own image in her, different from the rest of the animals. Is that the way you want to go with new right there?
Yeah. Well, considering
that's reasonable.
The Christian are considering that he is the only man, the only human, as we will call them, you know, and all the rest of them are animals. If a human walked around the corner, he'd be like, "I know what that is. That's the same as me."
Right.
You know.
And at probably 15 or so years of age, that'd be pretty damned exciting.
Where are you coming with the age?
It's an estimate. It looks like it was very, very early on in the course of things.
Not too long ago, I wouldn't consider a 15-year-old fully grown. You said about growing.
Oh, it depends on the context.
Okay, well, give me your context, because you just made a statement about couldn't grow a fully grown person in a week, and now you're thinking that this person's 15. That's not, to me, fully grown.
Okay, so in the context of off of this earth and without our morality, slaves are held. What's the earliest you start pairing them for reproduction of more slaves? Probably about 15, 16 years old.
Bit of advice. If you've got all that information behind your head, you should let us know when you mean a statement of fully grown that it's not the same as what everyone else thinks is fully grown.
Oh, not socially, no.
Yes, I would consider fully grown to be like early 20s and something like that. You know, 18 and legally, but you know, 21, 22, you start to become your final sort of form.
So from what I know from medical consensus, even though an American girl is not mentally mature nor ready to be really ready to be a wife or a mother at 15, 16 years old. That's the earliest age that she could reproduce and not get like probably permanently injured by it.
Yeah. There's bad phrases
in a scenario. Sorry, go ahead.
No. There's bad phrases come to mind that I hear young boys saying and stuff like that in reference to that, and you know.
Okay. Well, we don't have to review all that and all our social disgustingness, but
yeah.
But in a herd animal, like you want it to breed as young as possible because you want offspring. Like say you're raising cows or pigs. If you're raising pigs, you want them to breed as soon as they could, that it wouldn't hurt the female. That's what you're going for there.
Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. The private chat's what they say.
What's going on? Yes, I understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Peace and respect also Hillary's.
Oh, everybody's coming over now. Oh, yeah. For fuck's sake, this is a good point, right? Richard,
we have a nerdy.
You forgot to let me know to put up the Bible or the book.
Oh, I forgot that part.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
That's your job to remind. I'm too busy in producing. You have to remind me of these things.
That's part of production. What are you talking about? Okay, so
in the first week, no, sorry, where are we?
No, 6.
Still 6. Go 6.
Is now bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh. She should be called wife because she was taken from her husband. I really think that wife is a bad translation, but I know what they mean and why they translated it that way. Because in that part of the world, in those languages, like Aisha is the same as wife, is the same as fully a grown female. That word Aisha means all of those things.
Whenever Dr. Matt is here next week, and I want you to make lots of statements just like that.
Yeah.
I want you to point out all your translations and how you take the words so that we can get an alternative point of view. Because I can't off the top of my head say you're right or you're wrong, but you're plausible, you know?
Well, I know, of course, that it's plausible. Like the word that got translated into the Christian Bible as virgin, referring to Mary, it only means young woman.
Yeah, well,
and I'm not guessing. Yeah, if I quote a word from that language, it's because I've looked up the definition enough times to remember it, which means probably about 20 times.
Yes, but you do have your natural bias, so.
Yes, of course. But I'm just quoting definitions. If anyone asks me at any time, I can show the definition that what I'm saying is accurate. In fact, I have 4 of them up for Sammy right now concerning the word slay in the Bible, but we never got to it. But that's okay.
In retrospect to what we were just saying with retrospect, you know, and saying that over one-on-one, the translation that most Bibles go with was one after the other, and it's the translation in this is retrospective. That's 2 different translations of probably the same word. That's what I'm saying. Okay. You would prefer to use this because of the context, say that you prefer, where most other people would go with a different context and a different word. I just want to find differences like that between your opinion and his, you know?
I would just almost bet that this word wife right here is very close to the Arabic word Aisha. I would just bet on that. But that's beside the point. It's all a tangent. For they will be one flesh. In the first week was Adam created in the rib his wife. In the second week she showed her unto him. Oh, he showed her.
Yeah, first week Adam was created, and the rib, his wife, in the second week. It should be read like that. You had weird pauses. He showed her unto him, and for this reason the commandment was given to keep in their defilement for a male 7 days, and for a female twice 7 days.
What? Let me read that.
Yeah.
Unto him. And for this reason, the commandment was given to keep in their defilement. That should be like keep against their defilement.
I understand it. Right. Well, I understand the time frame.
It's talking about sacrificing.
Yes. Well, I understand I don't understand the defilement, but I understand the male was created after the 7th day and the female was created after the second week. So that's why she is twice 7 days, because she was the second week and he was the first week. what the defilement is, what they have
Yeah.
to like.
Well, it's some kind of sacrifice, some kind of something to make you clean, is what it's going to describe soon. Which is, there's nothing unclean about a human body, and it's a very, or any natural cycle of a human body. There's nothing unclean about that.
It depends. Are you talking about after you take a poo?
There's nothing unclean about you having to clean yourself after a poo. It doesn't defile you.
But there might be some poo on your bum you're not clean.
It'd be a good idea to clean it out so you don't have skin problems. That's true.
Right, anyway.
But it doesn't defile the person that they have natural processes. It doesn't. And I've never seen where it actually talks about it that way, and this better not, or I'm going to have a problem with it.
I'm just looking at this. He showed her onto him, and for this reason. So him just looking at her.
Yeah.
What is the 7 days he has to do and she has to do?
I don't know. We're going to find out. But I think showed here is more than just visual engaging. I think, show.
You're talking to Porkin. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what show here is. So it's going to get immediately into like cleanliness law or things, or it's probably will. And after Adam had completed 40 days in the land where he had been created, we brought him into the Garden of Eden to till and keep it. This part agrees with what was later written down in Quran. But his wife they brought in on the 18th day, and after this she entered into the Garden of Eden. Okay, so it's claiming they had to go through some kind of ritualistic cleansing before going into the Garden of Eden. That's interesting. I'm not objecting to it, but I'm saying it's significantly different.
And where would that align with you?
Oh, it works very well for me. Because in Genesis 2:8, man and woman are made outside of the garden and placed into it, which this is saying.
In reference to your story, what do you consider this to be the story? Like the Garden of Eden, is that you in your story, they're human slaves?
Yes.
Right. So the Garden of Eden's not going to be great. Is it going to be them in a mill, or what is the Garden of Eden?
No, the Garden of Eden is any earth, not the home world. The home world is never an earth. It's never a good place at all.
Right. So please explain the story then, as far, because we're now suddenly in another. So there is the creation of Adam.
Way forward here.
There's a creation of Adam.
Yeah.
And after a period of undesignated time. Hi, Cloud. Right.
Oh, and God equals square root of -1. Welcome.
Oh, hey. I think I'm nearly sure they used to be called Slayer or something. Now I've lost my mind because I'm trying to think of their name. Anyway, so Adam was
you've lost your mind now. I get it. Okay, fine.
Adam was created, right?
Yeah.
And then after a designated period of time, they cloned, as you would see it, and created another human, and only a female version this time. Slightly different clone, right? Not technically a clone, but a female. Then they get taken to another Earth.
We've jumped way forward. Like we just skipped past Exodus completely here.
Well, this explains Exodus later on. The whole thing goes to Exodus. It's told in the same order as the Christian story.
Yeah, I can see that, yeah.
Well, the Old Testament, whatever you want to call it. I say Christian because it's,
it's good enough for now, yeah.
The Genesis, right? But it's told still in that way. So you're telling me that the Exodus of them running away and arriving in the Garden of Eden is after they have escaped what you would call the devil.
And this time of becoming clean may be the time that they are like traveling through space, realizing stuff, and that's what it's talking about there. That there's this ritualistic purity going on, and that could just be like coming to understand what a new society is going to need, a society of their own kind.
So there's just the two of them.
Yeah, at first, yes.
And they've stolen just a shuttle. They've stolen an Earth-sized ship. They've stolen the main heaven, or does it grow over time? Or what type of, like, I'm trying to figure out what sort of ship you're going to need.
Yeah. Well, they skipped over a big chunk here, and it doesn't cover a lot that's covered later in the
Okay.
text. And we'll have to find out if they cover it or not. I don't know if they're going to cover it or not.
Okay.
But yes, it starts out with one of each, just like anything does. There has to be a first of whatever species. And then a female's created so that they can start procreating, and soon that gets out of hand, and that's not spoken of here. And we'll just have to see if it's consistent later on that topic, because it skips it.
So just to get confirmation on this, right? When it continues on with the story of them being in the Garden of Eden, from now on, you consider them being in the Garden of Eden, having escaped.
Yes.
Being on their very first planet by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Wondering what's happening. In your story.
Wait. No, the story, as far as I know, the story goes like this. They tried being a space-based society with whatever population they had, which is probably of their species a fairly small number.
I literally just asked if it was only the two of them, and you said yes.
I said that skipped over a chunk, and there was more than one of them when they leave. That's why I'm trying to clarify. So by the time you get to the Exodus, they're like having their cavemen, prior slaves, steal all kinds of crap and take it onto the ship. And they've got whatever number they are, and they get on the ship, and they all leave together. Which is where they actually stole all these animals. And that would include like stealing dinosaurs, which on their planet didn't go extinct.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure out in your mind, right? Because you said they've skipped a big bit. So when we're in the Garden of Eden,
mm-hmm.
we are now free slaves.
When we're in the Garden of Eden, we're not free slaves. Woo! This causes some hard conversation, doesn't it?
Well, they've now escaped. They have now escaped from their there are people who are picking on them. The devil. They were created, as you said, as a slave race. So they are now freed slaves.
Okay, they are now freed and no longer slaves. Yes, if that's what you mean.
Yes, they were slaves. They're now freed slaves. It's a phrase. If you started free, you wouldn't need to be free. I understand that.
Sorry, my brain just miscalculated that phrase. You'll forgive me.
Okay, you're good. You're good. Sometimes I worry. Right. So when they're in the Garden of Eden, that is planet number 1.
Apparently, yes.
And planet number 1 consists of a population of Adam and Eve, or more people.
Oh, probably 10,000 per ethnic group.
Where did they get these? The different ethnic groups? I don't even. Right, we'll go into that in the Exodus. You're just filling. This is okay. Right. Moving on then.
Where are we at here?
10.
10. And for this reason, yeah. And for the reason the commandment is written on the heavenly tablets in regard to her that gives birth, if she bears a male. Is that the right spelling for bear? As in, that's wrong spelling, isn't it? Bare?
You're asking.
This is like an animal, a bear.
Not English pig. It is animal bear, but yeah.
Yeah, that's spelled wrong. A male, she shall remain in her uncleanliness 7 days according to the first week of days, and 33 days shall she remain in the blood of her purifying, and she shall not touch any hallowed thing, nor enter into the sanctuary until she accomplishes these days which are enjoined in the case of a male child.
Better to have a boy.
I don't see why it's true.
I don't agree with the statement. I'm getting that from this.
Boys are easier to clean and take care of as an infant. It's the only rationale I can think of.
I don't know.
Just because they just have less exposed organs. Sorry, that's just how it is. Male child. But in the case of a female child, she remain in her uncleanliness 2 weeks of days. according to the first 2 weeks, and 66 days in the blood of her purification, and they will be in all 80 days.
Really?
Wow, more time off for a girl. That's pretty cool.
I don't know if it was time off, like.
It's time off. You don't go into the sanctuary, which means you don't do the regular work stuff you normally would do.
Okay, you could say you don't go into the sanctuary, and I somewhere in the back of my brain have a memory of an African tribe, and when the woman is menstruating, she's not allowed in the village, and she has to stay outside and walk around and let all that out because they don't have tampons and fanny pads over in Africa tribes. Like.
Yeah, true.
Now that could be some people could make an argument that's a punishment. You're not allowed in with your family. You're not allowed into the heat. You're outside, you know.
Okay, I don't think they're described. Look, people have done all kinds of weird things on this earth, including the Jews and the Christians, you know, and I don't necessarily agree with them doing it, nor do I agree that you can always justify it from their religious stories.
I just don't necessarily see in the way that this is written where men are good and women are better, that a woman gets more time off for having I feel that it's being it's weirder than that, because women aren't even allowed in the sanctuary, but here they are. They're just kept out for a short time. Okay.
So there's we've pointed out some differences there. What it means, I don't know. We'll find out maybe later. When she had completed these 80 days, were brought into what? And when she had completed these 80 days, we brought her into the Garden of Eden, for it is holier than all the earth besides, and every tree that is planted in it is holy. And it's holy.
May I try? She's in the Garden of Eden. They do the porking. If she has a girl, she has to get out because it says she's not allowed to touch anything holy, and every single thing in the Garden of Eden is holy. That's
what it's claiming in a very Christian reading frame, sure.
Well, I'm just reading it as it says here.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. But that is reading it within a Christian reading frame that I do reject. But you were consistent within Christianity the way you read that, so good job, or I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to, because you were confused. I think you were going to say to me, she got in after 14 days. Why is she now getting in after 80? That doesn't make sense. I see.
No, I believe they're okay. So the way this is written here in a Christian mindset, she was in the garden, had birth, had to leave for a certain amount of time, could come back in. Okay. But these 10,000 of each ethnic group that I was just speaking of should have been born outside of the garden. That is, man and woman, represented by the female Eve and the male Adam, were placed into the garden, which is something it just said.
You use the Bible and as a reference point for your story.
On this particular myth, sure.
Right. In the Bible, Genesis comes before the Exodus.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. So how do you justify it when you read the Christian Bible?
Same way. I don't see a problem with it.
So you don't see a problem in the Christian Bible, but you just see a problem here, even though it doesn't say that the other groups were born outside of Eden. It says everybody was born in Eden and came forth from...
Well, it just said they were outside of Eden.
In this it does, but I'm asking you, if you use the Bible as your point for the basis of your religion, as a part of other stuff.
Okay.
In the Bible, Genesis comes before the Exodus. So when you're reading Genesis, do you go through Genesis and then, like when you're doing your rewriting of Genesis, do you just skip a load and do a wee note in the side, skip loads, see Exodus?
I didn't put a note in the side, because I don't think that's necessary. I think it's better for a person to just... No, I'm not. It just said they were created outside of the garden. It just said that. So why should I assume they were created outside of the garden, but then they're suddenly in the garden, then out of the garden again, and then they can go back in the garden again? Why should I assume that? It says tabernacle or holy place, or however you want to translate that, is the place that she can't be in.
Uh-huh.
And then and then right here in a Christian reading frame where we just read, it assumes that the tabernacle is the Garden of Eden when it shouldn't be.
And does it say that in Genesis?
Yes, Genesis 2:8. Man was created outside of the garden, put into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember if it was in 2 that they said that here, or if it's going to be in the future. It looks like it's going to be in the future from where we are right now. I don't remember it being in this book.
In, out, shake it all about. We'll all do the
Yeah,
hokey pokey.
Yeah, it's pretty much the hokey pokey, but it's only hokey pokey in the Christian reading frame where you assume tabernacle means Garden of Eden. Whereas here, it looks like a differentiation, which I agree with.
Okay.
If any of that made any sense to anybody's brain, I don't know.
I'm at the hokey cokey.
Yeah, I don't see any reason for it. That is planted in it's holy. In it's holy. Yeah, that's hard to read. Therefore, there was ordained regarding her who bears, misspelled again, I believe, a male or female child, the statute of those days, that she should touch no hallowed thing, nor enter into the sanctuary. It says sanctuary again, until these days for the male or female are accomplished. So, summary, nothing new to say there.
Yeah, it's just, if you have a male, you have to get out of the Garden of Eden for a wee while, and if you have a female, you have to get out for longer.
Like 60 and 80 days, respectively.
Yeah.
There, I used respectively.
In the correct way.
Correctly. This is the law and the testimony which was written down for Israel in order that they should observe all the days. They interjected the word it right there in parenthetical it.
Well, that's probably just for better English grammar.
I think it makes it worse. I think that shouldn't even be there, and it's kind of disrupting the sentence. Because if you put that word it right there in, it means one thing, and if you leave it out, it means a different thing. Do you see where it means two different things?
On our point of view and stuff, but some people love their grammar. We could be fucking wrong, man. Neither of us are English teachers, and I'm definitely not.
Actually, I never scored in anything higher than language composition and comprehension. Never. That was always my best thing.
Fuck the teacher off, went to sleep on her fucking desk right in front of her. Fuck you, fucking.
Yeah, I did too, and I still smashed it all. I slept through class every day and smashed it.
Well, not English. I hated English. I hated my teacher. I could do it, but yeah. Bitch.
Yeah, I'm actually in the 99 percentile of humans in reading comprehension. It's like crazy way up there. In the first week of Jubilee, what's that?
Ding ding.
Ding, ding.
Someone who stands here and makes things and stuff like me and had an argument with me that when we did an IQ test, because it was based mainly on pictures and patterns that I'm good at, and I did quite well, and you did awful in it, I said that there would be different questions, like essay questions, that I would suck at, and you made a point, I'm stupid, blah, 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 blah. If you're in the 90 percentile of someone at that reading level, if all the questions were grammar-based and essay-based, you'd have smashed it. And I wouldn't have.
Well, that wasn't the test now, was it?
I know it wasn't, but that was my point.
And it's not 90%, it's 1%. I'm in the 1%. Yes, I know.
Okay.
I can't claim that I earned it in any way. It's just how my brain likes things. In the first week of the first Jubilee.
Oh, we're getting exact time frames here. I don't see any other 1 to 7, 8. No, right, there we go. It's telling us what to do. No, it's telling us what's happening. Go.
That sounds like bull crap, sticking that 1 to 7 a.m. in there. Adam and his wife were in the Garden of Eden for 7 years, tilling and keeping it. And we gave him work, and we instructed him to do everything that is suitable for tillage.
Now we agreed that these are we agreed that these are angels of some sort. Now who's teaching Adam now in the Garden of Eden as you see as Planet One? Who's teaching him?
That should be our kind of angel.
I don't know.
That should be.
What do you mean, our kind of angel?
Not demons.
Right, so this is a good angel. Well, where's the good angel coming from?
From the same place that Adam and Eve did, from the tabernacle, which is heaven. The tabernacle always means heaven, by the way, as far as I can tell. It never means this planet.
Right, I'm confused at the way this is laid out again, man, right? Because it's Adam and Eve leaving. And it's Adam and Eve, as you said, 10,000 of other, and they all create all these other people, right? So they are the first two. If they are the first two, who is the other person that then left with them that's now teaching them? Is it now the same sort of human as them? Is it a higher being that's fighting against an angel? Is it a first person? Because you could call that guy God then.
You could, if God was a person, yes, you could. I think I see your point, and I think I see why it looks confusing mentally from where you're sitting. Okay, try to imagine this. You've already terraformed the planet, right? And you guys are in your spaceship. Now you want there to be people ready to go to the planet. But you want them to be differentiated because you're creating a countdown timer where a certain genetic... Damn it.
Already
I didn't get
lost.
A quarter of the way through that.
No, because you started at the point where the planet is already terraformed. For the planet to be terraformed, they must have had escaped from the other planet. For them
really long time before that, right?
Right, a really long time before that. Okay, so you skipped all of that. If there is someone teaching them that knows more than they do, it must have come from the first planet. So can we go back there and not go straight to the terraform when there's already these...
So they steal technology. So they steal a bunch of technology and some lower humans and a whole bunch of animals and plants and crap, right? And they take off for their lives. They run away. Now the next mission is to find the right kind of planet, that it's barren, that there's no life there. It's just a dead damn planet around orbiting the right size star, the right distance for you. Got to find all that. Okay. So while they're traveling, trying to find all that, they're bumping uglies. They're making more of themselves. And they get to a pretty good sized population of them. Okay. Now it's time to start terraforming. They start terraforming the planet. This takes millions of years. Millions of years to terraform a planet. Meanwhile, they're bumping uglies. So there's a whole bunch of them by now. Well, now it's time to put mankind, Adam and Eve, on the planet. So a little bit of genetic engineering. They make the different haplogroups, the different races.
Are we now talking the Adam and Eve that's our first Adam and Eve, or the Adam and Eve? Can you please use that for a differentiation?
It's not Adam and Eve, the individuals. It's the kind, it's the species Adam and Eve.
But this is the freed people now who are making these people.
Yes.
And terraforming the planet.
Yes.
I'm very lost. I want to ask, like, I can understand if you're in a spaceship and you've basic information on how to use stuff, that when you leave, like if Elena left alone with 6 months, would probably figure out how to drive the car.
Probably.
Right? And she'd probably be able to figure out how to get from A to B and put diesel in it. Because she's done all that from watching me do it and helping me. But if that car broke down, other than putting maybe a set of brakes on it, she's watched me do that, she couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
And everybody that comes after her would not know how to do that.
Right.
Now, when I arrive and go A to B, that's me going A to B, getting to the planet and hitting a button for it to transform and terraform.
Yeah.
How do I then learn the tilling and all these other skills? Who's this we that's teaching me? They must know more than...
Wait. The first Adam came from a slave class and was in charge of the slaves. He knew farming. He knew animal husbandry. He knew technology. He was in charge of 2/3 of government. He understood their technology. So when he stole everything and left, he wasn't ignorant of these things.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that at all. What I'm asking you is who
Okay.
is the we that's teaching these people? You say that
His children,
pardon?
Adam and Eve's children,
Are teaching him.
are teaching the people who are going to come to this planet, the new Adam and Eve for
Okay,
this
have
planet.
we right. Have we now jumped in the story? Because I directly asked a question, maybe it wasn't understood. When we are reading this, okay, this story right now, don't say Christian mind frame, don't say it, and I'm talking about the words that are in front of me right here. When we are reading this now, the Adam and Eve that it is talking about, you are now, as we were earlier in the story, talking about Adam leaving the planet and the cloning and stuff. From that part of the story to now where we are, when it says Adam and Eve from now on, you're not talking about two singular people, you're talking about people.
Large group, yes.
So you just did that and didn't think that that was not giant. When you said there was no notice of you going.
Well, when I tried to go into haplogroups and ethnic groups, you cut me off 3 times.
Okay.
I tried to say it.
I don't know who the. Okay. You went. All right. Fine. I apologize.
That's why I was trying to say that, is so I could say large group to be put on the planet. But you stopped me. Maybe next time you'll let me say it.
I can't understand sometimes. That's it. That's my problem, Richard.
Okay, so they're in the spaceship, right? They've been terraforming this planet. It's ready for human beings. They've got it whipped. They've got, good soil and stuff like that by now. It's ready. So they have a birthing cycle with genetic restrictions so that they can get all the groups that we see in pretty good sized numbers, per group. And they put them on the planet. That is why, if you look back, it actually reads Adama, meaning a group, instead of Adam, a person, for instance. Is that good?
Cool.
That just sounds like frustration, and you're not interested in trying anymore. Is it a good explanation?
It's not that I'm not interested in trying, Richard. It's just I'm trying to learn. And I have a step and a process that my brain has to go through to understand things. And I'm sorry for the frustration that it causes. It's just, if you say loads of words and I'm lost at point 1, I'm lost anyway. All the rest of the way. So
well, how about this? If you can identify the question you need, say it.
I thought I did.
Did I not answer it, though?
I'm just lost at when it went. I understand that you're talking in your mindset. Story, skipped a whole load, Exodus. I thought when I directly asked, is this planet 1 with Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden and other people outside of it? And you said yes. I assumed yes. Adam and Eve in the story in the Garden of Eden is Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden that you were talking about. That's what I asked. And I was confused because now you're saying that Adam and Eve in this story, as we continue, is talking about a group of people and now not. Because previously I asked you, is it Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden with other people outside? And you said yes. So I was down that path of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. And now in this, it's Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, but not Adam and Eve. It's literally a group of people, which I asked was outside and you said yes. And I'm completely confused.
Okay. To my brain, I answered the questions as they came accurately. And we're just talking about different brain operations here. Okay. All right. So if I could try to say it in your brain, I'd like to give you differentiation of words. This isn't going to help the audience, but I think it'll work for you. There's Adam, and then there's Adama. And there's Hava, and then there's Eve. Adama and Eve are groups. Go ahead.
I did say, could you make the difference of saying Adam and Adam so I could differentiate?
I'm trying to comply with that now.
I know, but that's what confused me as well, because you kept saying Adam. So.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Well, now that I see the importance of it, and it wasn't just offhanded, and you really need that, I'm cool with
yeah,
it.
I need to know the differences.
Okay, so from here forward, it's Adam and Hava, Adama and Eve. And that second category means large group of beings.
From the moment they enter into the Garden of Eden, as you see, as billions of years later, and lots of populations and different animals and stuff and all of that crack, when they enter the Garden of Eden, they are talking populations of people and not Adam and Eve.
Right.
That's it.
Not Adam and Hava.
Hava, whatever.
Yeah.
Go on ahead.
Okay. No idea at all. You moved it up. We're about right there. Or they should observe all the days. First, are we 16?
Yeah, suitable for tillage. That's the whole point. We gave him work. We instructed him. And my original question is, who is the person teaching him if he's the first that left with all the knowledge?
Which would be angels, and or the teachers are angels. And we'll see this in the fallen angels later, the watchers, that this was like a regular thing. That those teachers are what we would call angels or fully evolved humans, the children of Adam and Hava. Which number, how many, we don't know. They were bumping uglies for quite a while.
Millions.
Really longer, as long as it took to get from Satan's homeworld to the first earth, plus the transformation of that earth. So, millions of years or whatever. Maybe more than millions of years. Maybe hundreds of millions of years. It's hard to tell.
Okay, 16. Yeah, there we go.
And he tilled and was naked and knew it not and was not ashamed. And that makes sense, because the first generation of people working the planet, if they didn't just tell their children where they came from, if they never mentioned heaven, that's the end of the story. Now people are just naked and they don't even know it. They have no idea about heaven or religion or anything like that.
So if I can just get this straight in my head, when they left and they took underdeveloped humans with them from the original planet, are they then using that species on this to recreate themselves? No,
but it is part of the terraforming process and beating down the weeds.
So
creating paths, if you will.
We put earlier evolutions of ourselves on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't evolve from them. They die off and we get a new version from the aliens. Is that what you're saying? Or we did take the time to evolve from that earlier man?
No, I don't think the evolution process happened here, although it happened naturally back on Satan world. And the reason that we have all these evolutionary jumps, although the genetics don't indicate evolutionary jumps, but we don't find skeletal remains for every little tiny gradation, it's because they were never here.
So they're just killing these earlier versions and hiding them? Or they let them
Nothing
live?
to hide. You just kill them and let them lay.
So they just killed them? Or did they let them live here for... Like, there's evidence to show that I do believe Cro-Magnon man, or not Cro-Magnon man, my goodness, Homo erectus was here for 200,000 years.
Yep.
Now, we have a time scale of that between the first one and the end one and some bits in the middle. You know, we haven't got loads of them.
Sure.
But did they just, over the period of 200,000 years, just dump them and kill them? Or did they just leave them there and call back in 200,000 years?
I think there were many purposeful extinction events of many species.
I get that. Didn't answer my question. Did they leave us here for 200,000 years, or did they just kill us and dump bodies?
Oh, I think they actually were here for that 200,000 years, yeah.
Okay. Right. And then the aliens come back and just wipe them out.
Yeah, and there was several plantings and wipings outs. Yeah.
So these nice aliens that you're giving me more fuel for the fire to say they're just
I know.
wiping out people.
Oh yeah, wiping out people, wiping out dangerous dinosaurs, megafauna, all kinds of stuff.
Why, if for talk's sake, all these megafauna, as you propose, they brought with them from the original planet, and on the original planet they survived. You said the dinosaurs didn't go extinct.
Yeah.
Why would they then make dinosaurs go extinct here?
I don't know much about that planet. It doesn't talk much about it. Peace and respect, TP Seeker, and Maya Atkinson for that matter. It doesn't talk much about that planet, you know, and I don't know what the conditions and stuff there are like. I don't know what the surface area is, you know, for instance. And it's entirely possible that the smaller, more fragile animals like us were able to just stay away from T-Rexes, just because T-Rexes won't swim across an ocean, for instance. But apparently you need all this different stuff to terraform a planet, because unlike Star Trek, you don't have a photon torpedo tube thing that just automatically terraforms planets.
It was called the Genesis device.
Yeah, that thing. A real fan versus not such a real fan.
Watched it last 2 weeks ago.
they apparently don't have a Genesis device, and they do it in a very naturalistic way, using like plants and animals and stuff to do the terraforming. So it makes perfect sense to me. You know, dump atmosphere, dump water on there. Salt naturally dissolves. You get oceans. No problem there. Different kinds of animals, simple plankton, simple one-celled animals, you know, bacteria start breaking some stuff down. All the archaea, I'll just call it archaea for now, start breaking stuff down. Now plants, more complex plants. So, I mean, I have no problem with like the geological record of the evolution of animals in layers. It's just fine for me.
Well, here's some information for you that you will love. And I thought of you when I seen it now. It was in an Anton Petrov video. I don't know if anyone knows Anton Petrov. He does physics, sci-fi, not physics and sci-fi. He does physics and all the scholarly work. He reads more papers than most people. He's also had a lot of bad things happen in his life. He's quite recently lost a child and stuff and all that. But he donates any money towards Ukraine. He does a lot of good work. He's a very good person. All right, and the water on our planet has a specific composition of the different types of isotopes of water. And it's this percentage. And we have taken different samples from planets and comets and stuff and all that have landed. And some of it is very close in this, that, and the other, no. But quite recently there was something that happened that I think there was a supernova. The supernova, then the frozen area, like, you know, you've got your water in the gaseous form in the space, not doing anything, just being water. And then you've got your ice outside that, right? Because it's too far away from the sun. And they've never been able to see this area of water because it's too close to the sun. Now, I'm paraphrasing and bringing this down. But with the supernova or a solar flare or whatever the fuck happened, it melted the frozen stuff, vaporized this and melted the frozen stuff, and give them the ability to bring light through it. And as you can tell with light and different breakups and stuff. And it's a flipping... That water is the same as our water.
Okay.
And, you know, if you were traveling through space, you could have picked some up from there. You could have dumped it here, you know. I thought of you whenever I heard it.
What's really weird about that is when you say it's the same as our water, what do you mean?
The percentage of isotopes to ours is closer matching to stuff that's, you know, we've had access to before.
Sure.
So, you know,
I don't know enough about isotopes and what that means in real terms.
I think if you made salt water, and every single time you made salt water, you put a full cup in, And every single time I made salt water, I put a full cup in. And we argued it's a full cup and it's both water. Yours is a coffee mug. Mine's a British teacup. Different salt content.
Okay.
Different concentration. Think different concentrations of isotopes. So you've got deuterium. Then you've got, deuterium's the one. Your face made a thing. It's heavy water. You've heard of heavy water? Extra hydrogen? No.
Okay, today I've heard of heavy water having extra nitrogen in it.
Yeah. Not extra nitrogen. It's an extra neuron. Makes it heavier. It's still got the same amount of positrons, the same amount of electrons and all, but it's got an extra neutron on it, which just makes it heavier. Then you've got different ones that share electrons and stuff, and you can have an extra wee one here and an extra wee one there. And I'll give you the frickin' video. All right, you've heard of you.
I'm gonna have to watch something educational on this because I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm just saying the water that's on this planet could possibly have came from fucking light years away.
Oh, that's interesting.
There you go. All right, that slammed it home to you.
I was able to grasp that. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
Well, that's interesting.
Right.
Does it have to have, does it, okay, now I got a question. The water on this earth, must it have been that close to a star?
I don't understand your question.
Must it have been much closer to a star than it is right now?
To do what?
Is that what you're saying? It's got like extra energy.
No, the reason that we can measure the water from so far away quite recently is because there was a ring of water that was gaseous, and then there was a ring of ice. And then a solar flare happened, or whatever the fuck happened, and it melted that ice. And with the gas and ice rather than liquid and solid, we've now been able, with spectrums, to read. Because you get wee bands missing.
Yeah, because light will go through it, and you get Fraunhofer lines. Yeah.
And we've now been able to tell that water is very similar to ours, if not the same.
If not the same, it's very interesting.
I'm building it up, and it's going to be poo, right? But let me see if I can find.
Stuff often works in my head better the next day.
Right. I will find it now in 1 wee second. Someone else find it for me. Anton Petrov, right? I'm trying to do an actual show here. My goodness, right? I'm gonna put this.
Clout wrote, tritium is also hydrogen, but with 2 extra neutrons.
Yeah, and there's uranium-235 and uranium-238. That's how we make bombs. Someone searched that channel quite recently in this last month, maybe, for water videos. Right. Back to the fucking show here, Richard.
Where are we? Anyone?
After the completion of 7 years, which he had completed there, 7 years exactly, and in the second month, on the 17th day of the month, the serpent came and approached the woman, and the serpent said to the woman, hath God, with big G, commanded you, saying, ye shall not eat of every tree in the garden.
After the completion of 7 years, which he had completed there, 7 years exactly. That looks like a translation issue. When I see that repeating thing, a lot of times to put it into English, it was actually like emphatic, but was the same statement and is not 2 separate statements.
So it's like saying shut up instead of shut the fuck up.
Right. Because they didn't have the word. They didn't have the F-bomb in all languages at all times. So sometimes they just say things twice.
Yeah.
And sometimes they should have broken it into 2 sentences for the translation, and they didn't. So, and sometimes they did both those things, which really screw my head up. But in research of the Hebrew language, I found that out that's there. Although I was already reading it correctly, I found there's foundation for the. But anyway.
This reading, okay?
Yes, in this reading.
No, I'm going to ask you, sorry. I'm full stop, starting of a question. In this reading, we've now got Adam and Eve, not Adam, We have got populations of people, and are we telling a giant chunk of time? Who in this story is the serpent? Do you see it as the devil,
Well,
bad
I only got
influence?
one sentence to go for, and what I would say preemptively is that it's going to be a nebula.
As in space?
Yes, as in outer space. And this passage of time right here is not Earth days whatsoever, and is probably equivalent to, how old do we think Homo sapiens sapien is? Something about 200,000 years old?
300 something like that. Well, yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. That it's allowing for us to get to the age of technology in this passage of time. So no, not 7 Earth years.
Right. But okay. But the serpent is a nebula, and then you're back on the planet again. I'm confused again, because are we not already in the Garden of Eden?
They haven't left the Garden of Eden yet.
Okay, in the
People
garden.
trapped there are just trapped. Yeah.
Okay, so the Garden of Eden is a planet, yes? Or am I just really fucking stupid, right? Am I having really hard time understanding this? Or am I just fucking stupid? Like, is the Garden of, where we're at in the story now, Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
With a population of the first Earth on it now.
Sure. Go ahead.
Yes, that's where we're at.
Good so far, yep.
Okay, so if we're in the Garden of Eden, which is a planet, the serpent is a nebula in space. Please explain that to me.
They're not near the nebula. They made telescopes.
So looking at the sky, are you, the ability to see space, you're seeing as what the Christians would say, the introduction of evil?
Yeah, they would probably call it evil. I just call it knowledge. I don't see anything evil about it.
Yes, but the whole story is a serpent introducing, sin into the world. I didn't want to fucking use that word. That's why I said evil.
Yes, they think of it that way. I don't. I think it's just talking about us learning over time, which is what we do.
So why necessarily is looking into space that point? Is it because they're a spacefaring race? Is that how you see it?
It's a sign of how far we've come in technology, that we can see the nebula. That's the point.
So we're talking telescopes. We're talking 1800s and stuff.
Not to see that nebula. In fact, we didn't see it till Hubble.
Right. So that's recent enough then, okay?
Yeah, it's really far away. It's beautiful.
Most stuff in space is. Would you believe that?
Well, I mean, even
really
for stuff in
fucking
space,
big.
Yes, the Horse Nebula is actually, and the Snake Nebula is part of the Horse Nebula. The Horse Nebula we spotted several years ago, okay? But it wasn't until Hubble we found the space.
Would you believe, right? Here's a wee factoid for you. As I grew up as a child, I went to the local observatory, and the best bloody silver, like good lasting poster that they had was the Horsehead Nebula, and I had it on my wall.
You're kidding me.
Fucking 10, 15 years, maybe at least, man.
That's a weird coincidence. So if you look at the Horse Nebula, you'll see a little dark thing, looks like a worm on its belly. That's the Snake Nebula.
Okay. So it was when Hubble arrived. So you take that as... Okay. And what do you take as the tree of knowledge? Like this idea of not being able to eat off every tree in the garden. Is this an idea of a sort of like, you can't get so smart. If you get so smart, it's a bad thing. Where in your interpretation, if you get so smart, we're going to come down and, you're getting to the point of the frickin', what do you call that in Star Trek? Gonna ask a non-fan, go. You know this one.
I don't know what that's called.
The prime directive. You don't break the prime directive.
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay. So there's two ways to look at that, really. You could say you could be normal Christian and say, oh, look, they're going to get they're going to get punished for knowledge, right? Where the rest of the text says knowledge is good. Or you could adopt a more consistent reading frame where knowledge is good. And it's just talking about them learning things over time and getting to the point where they learn something really significant and brand new that they couldn't do before. You cannot eat of this knowledge until you get to a certain point.
Hold on. Right. See if that answers TP Seeker's last statement in live chat, Richard. And if that does, then I feel like I've steelmanned you and it's taken us a wee while, but we're at the same understanding now.
Yes. Yeah. Part of the confusion is the way the Christians translated the text.
Oh, yeah. It's all the Christians' fault that aren't fucking here. It's nothing to do with you and the way you talk. It's all them fucking
No, I'm serious. I'm serious. It's literally the word Adama, which means a group of mankind, and they translated it often as Adam, and that's just flipping wrong.
So you're telling me in the original writing of this, you're right.
I would suspect that it being from the same part of the world and about the same time frame and the same languages, which we know is true, right? That anytime it meant a plural, it would have been Adama, the kind of animal, the species, and not Adam, the person.
Yeah, like TP Seeker, everything is new to Adam and Eve. It should read everything is new to Adama and Eve, because Adam and that other woman's name I can't remember, they had all
Ava.
the kids, and it's the kids teaching Adam and Eve that are on the planet now that are the... Yeah, Richardson's...
That sounds confusing.
See?
To me, it seems really clear, but it does sound confusing.
But you see, that's the thing, man. If I tried to explain to you, say for talk's sake, the rules of chess that I find instinctively, without playing in competitions or anything, just basic rules of chess, and, simple stuff, teaching my daughter and stuff, we could play that and it would be very instinctive. Where if you took it to someone who hasn't played it and who hasn't spent fucking 8 years going through the bullshit, it doesn't feel natural to them. They try to play drafts. You take a drafts champion, try and teach them chess, they're like doing this. It's like, what, different.
I want to show you an example just so you guys know I'm not kidding.
No, because you could be cherry picking. You'd need to show me a lot more.
No. I just need to show that there's two different words, Adam. That's all I need to show.
Yes, the possibility that it exists. I will agree with you in that. TP must have been right. Adam and some woman escaped, and for an approximate millions of years, they floated through space. Correct me if I'm wrong, Richard, right? Floated through space, bumping the uglies, as Richard put it, having kids and stuff. They then came across this planet and then terraformed it. And as the story goes, up until they enter the Garden of Eden, it is Adam. But after the Garden of Eden being entered, it becomes Adama in the original translation. It's not a one person, it's a multiple person, but the Christians have translated it wrong. That's Richard's argument, which confused the fuck out of me. This is great. TP Seeker is like where I was 15 minutes ago. It's like... And you did such a wonderful example earlier, Richard, in Sammy's... I speak MathPig. Do you not speak MathPig?
Sammy's not that good at speaking short MathPig ideas.
No. Sammy's is as good as you as...
Who was that? Hal Sonic did a good job, though. I think it was Hal Sonic.
No, it was Sandy.
Sandy. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Sandy knows me. I really want to know if she ever put that mirror up. She actually sat and used to stream, and she built a stained glass window like 7 foot long. I don't
Wow.
know if she ever put it up. It was beautiful.
More impressive would be knowing how many pieces of glass are in the window. That would be even more impressive, actually,
lots
than
of
the
small
size
things.
of it.
It wasn't like 10 pieces. She spent weeks on it. Anyway, back to the story, Richard.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you haven't found it, but yet we're not.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And she said to it, of all the fruit of the trees of the garden, God, big G, hath said unto us, eat, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said unto us, ye shall not eat thereof, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die.
Okay, now that's weird. That's weird because
Does it not say
I
something
really
similar?
thought that was going to be a proprietary quote that I would only find in the text of the Bible, where Eve adds to the original statement. But here it is again. Word for word, by the way.
Now, what do you mean by add to the original statement? Could you tell me, in your opinion, what has been added?
Okay, so scholars go different way on this point, saying that she was like expounding on what God told her not to eat of it.
Talk to me like I'm a 5-year-old.
Oh, I thought I already was. So, okay, so elsewhere in the text it says, "Thou shalt not eat," right?
Not in this.
But
I
she
don't
goes
think it's
further
meant.
than that.
No. In this, I don't think it has mentioned. I think the very first mention of eating was brought up by the snake.
Same order in the other text.
Right?
Okay.
Misconstrued your
same
point then.
Yeah. Okay. So she adds on to the idea of you will not eat of it. You will not even touch it. Okay. So that's like an addition. It looks like an addition. Scholars go back and forth on that, saying somebody just wrote that in for whatever reason, or that she was extrapolating out, if you want to look at it from an internal critique, and saying, well, God didn't really actually say that, but we assumed this much too.
Well, in saying that, have you ever touched something that felt really good that you didn't just want to stick your face in?
I'm going to plead the fifth on that one, yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Verse 19, Richard.
Mm-hmm. And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die, for God doth know on the day that ye eat thereof, your eyes will be opened, and you will be as gods, and ye will know good and evil. Perfect. That is spot on. Yeah, no problems here. It's just Christians look at it differently than I do, and I would say again, that is, you're unable, and when old ideas die, you won't be able to remain the same. And that is true because learning happens. And the lie of the snake here is the switching of the word, the meaning of the word die, from dying of old ideas or the old self dies into physical death. So I would maintain that. And it works just fine here because the words are exactly the same.
So ye shall not surely die, as in, because you have this knowledge, the society isn't going to fucking collapse. Like.
No. Gaining knowledge doesn't make you die of old age. It doesn't kill your body. Gaining knowledge just kills the old MathPig.
No.
Why not?
Well, considering the context of you saying gaining knowledge is better technology, being smarter, having phones, and very soon hoverboards and flying cars.
No, we won't.
Because you said that is the gaining of knowledge. Right? I don't consider...
of knowledge? Oh,
Pardon?
the gaining of knowledge. Yeah, keep going. Okay.
You understand me? Yes?
Yes, keep going.
Right. You're talking about the ideas of science and educating ourselves and stuff like that. I don't even go deep enough on all the rest of it, but I never see myself as being destroyed and then recreated, so to speak. I never see anything that happened in my past as a bad man. It all makes me. As
Yes, it does.
fucked up as I am, it all makes me. It's an
Yes.
addition to it. You know, it like
Yeah.
like 2 weeks ago, a month ago, it was MathPig before he knew about Jubilees. You know,
Sure.
3 months ago it was MathPig before he knew about John D. You've sent me down some fucking insane routes this last month, man. But all
Yes.
that knowledge is new. It doesn't.
Yes, it is.
It adds to me. I don't.
Okay. Okay. Let me find a different way to say the same exact thing without changing it, so I'm not shifting the goalposts or anything. You are Robbie. You've always been Robbie in a ship of Theseus kind of way.
Oh yeah, this is making it really simple.
Well, you know what the ship of Theseus is. Right?
I'm getting from the context that it's a Greek idea of a boat floating in a sea of knowledge.
No, not in a sea of knowledge. Just that they had to change out parts because wood rots.
Ah, so it's the A shed versus B shed.
Right, that one. Okay,
Right.
so you're still in experience. You're still you. You've never been not you. You've always been you the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But every time you repent of Santa Claus, the Robbie who believed in Santa Claus is dead. He doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah,
he's only a memory now.
Clout is just saying exactly what I wanted to say, which is, if you've got shed A and shed B and you swap parts around and then never change their position, at what point does shed A stop being shed A and
It
become
doesn't stop
shed
being
B?
shed. It was always shed A. It was always shed A, and it can't be something else.
Yeah, that's the idea. Reiterations of the id, the idea of the id. I understand.
Yeah. Okay. So because the id continues, there's always been Robbie since Robbie was conscious.
But there is
Just always
destruction to create that. Like the fact that I
Yes.
now know about John D, I forgot about why your ear hair grows or something stupid that's not important.
Fair enough. Yep. Okay. All right. So
He's
so
covering his
bearing
ears.
that
He's like,
in
oh
mind,
God, if I get ear hairs.
bearing that in mind and taking into consideration the idioms of the time and place.
Yeah.
Okay. They looked at every new thing as when you gain the new thing, you're a new person, and you kind of are, because you can't be exactly the same as you were.
Well, one never steps in the same river twice.
There you go. That's another way to say it from another culture.
Morning,
Because
darn.
you're different, and the river's different, and nothing's the same twice. It can't be. 1 second apart, it's different. Okay? So that's what I think they're expressing here is if you gain knowledge, you're different than before you had that knowledge. In this case, good and knowledge of what good and evil are.
Different,
Okay?
yes. Destroying the previous person. I think I got that from you at the original point, but now we've got to the point of being a different person, as in not the same. I understand that as the destruction.
Yes.
I've got you.
Okay. So where the original statement, thou shalt not eat, and if you eat, the old you dies, you continue, but the old you is dead, gets switched into it'll kill your body. And that's the lie.
Right. So whenever okay, right.
You've learned a lot of things that didn't kill you.
Okay. As we've agreed, food was good. They went and touched the fruit. It was good to touch. They stuck their face in it.
Right on.
Right on. When she when she first covered her shame with fig leaves, and we'll stop there because I want to ask you a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
How do you then confer that to our world and where we are now? Because if you say seeing the snake and talking to the snake, Hubble was a while ago. We've replaced Hubble. Like, we're on TCW.
Oh, yeah. Twice.
JCW, sorry. Yeah. Well, this is the new big one, Anyway, points aside. When it says she covered her shame with fig leaves, how do you convert that then to, can I say, and use reality, if you understand what I mean?
Sure. I think I got it. I'm going to go slightly into the past, right? But not too far. Something that we thought was true. Now we know a different idea about the same thing.
I swear to God, if you say flat Earth, I'm kicking both of us.
Well, now I'm tempted to, although I hadn't thought of it before you said that. I'm not going to. I'm not going to do it. Okay, so say for instance, the existence of Pluto, the planet Pluto. You kicked me. I saw you do that. I saw it out of the corner of my eye over there.
I didn't. I just moved you down and back up again. And then I moved you down when you stopped talking. I moved you back up when you started talking. So everybody thought you were kicked, but you ruined it.
Okay, so it looked like, to me, glance out the corner of my eye, it looked like I got kicked. Anyway, okay, so you tricked me. You got me. Okay,
I could have told a lie, but I can't.
So we had a count of planets, and then we saw these anomalies in the orbits of the outer planets, and we said, look, there's something heavy going through here on a regular basis.
Are you talking Planet 9?
I'm talking the planetoid Pluto, specifically. Yes. So we thought there were 8 planets. That's wrong.
Go Pluto. Yes.
It's just wrong. It's objectively wrong. Then we found Pluto, and we say, okay, there's 9 actual planets.
Actually, no, I disagree with that statement.
I'm not done.
It's not objectively wrong. It's subjectively wrong because we as humans decide what is a planet and a planetoid.
Well, as long as you stick with the definitions, I'm gonna. But anyway, we had one idea about a thing, and we auto corrected, right? So then we said there was 9 planets, right? And then when we got to looking at the definitions of planets and we defined those things better, we said, well, actually, Pluto is not a planet. It's a quasi-planet, a planetoid, right? And then we found moons over it. So it has satellites. And that's part of the definition of what a planet is. So we've gone back and forth on this a few different ways, for a few different reasons. Okay? And I think we've discovered enough about it that we can say we're not going to change our mind about that assessment anymore. Okay?
Change our mind, change our definition. I would change it.
Okay, so I'm using it as an example. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's only an example. No
I know,
example
but I
is
feel
perfect.
like you're making these points, and if I could interject, reality does shit. Reality is insane. Evolution, things, the way planets work. We arbitrarily put barriers on things because it makes things simpler. It also makes the math a wee bit simpler, and then you can abstract to it. But the point of what I'm trying to say is, like, I could say every sky is blue, and somebody could be a wee bit more, it's dark blue, it's got a wee touch,
Sure.
We put labels on shit arbitrarily.
Yes.
So go Pluto.
Yes, go Pluto. Okay. All right, so the same thing is happening here in this story, and I see this the same. It's like word for word copy of the other one, so I got nothing different to say for sure. God walks in the garden in the cool of the day, and that reveals things that we could not have known before, which we had bad ideas about. Okay,
getting all that.
Yeah. So they are clothing themselves poorly in stuff that's not really clothes.
No. If I can, in my brain earlier, you said first generations people here, no idea. If they weren't told where they came from heaven, boom, they know nothing. Story ends. They're naked.
Yep.
Right. So they don't know information. Is that what you're saying?
The truth about God. They don't know the truth of good and evil. They don't know about God.
Right. They don't know about a God, the person or the ideas, or what are you referring to?
They have weird, old, stupid, wrong ideas, but they don't know the truth yet.
But they're innocent without evil.
That's right. Which is why I consider you innocent and not evil, no matter what you do.
Right. So at the point where they see the snaky thing at the bottom of the horse that's not a dong, it's a snake.
Mm-hmm.
That's the point where they make the definition that we are now able to, that's the start of the 20 years or whatever the fuck, right?
Right, because God shows up in the garden. That's what changes.
Now, if I can re-ask my original question from like 20 minutes ago, because I still don't feel that I've got an answer. What is the conversion into reality? What is happening now that we are clothing ourselves to hide this knowledge?
Great. Okay, so nakedness is complete ignorance in this story. Heaven's arrival, God walking in the garden, is what makes them realize they're naked. So then they go, oh crap, alien invasion, we're done for, everyone kill yourself. It's about to.
Yes, but she covered herself with figs first.
Yes, I know what order it's in.
Yeah, and that was the point that I'm making. After we found out about the snake thing, what did we do in reality? Are you telling me it's out of order again in only this one sentence?
No, I'm not saying it's out of order. Not really. Okay, so we have ideas about space right now. We consider ourselves to be alone in all of space right now, that we don't have evidence to the contrary. So we have naturally and wrongly assumed we're the only sentient thing in the universe.
Yes.
Although theorists on, but not a worldwide average, people don't think, oh, we probably got neighbors next door.
We're naked.
We don't think that. We're naked.
Got this.
Okay, so we were really naked. Now we're poorly clothed. We think, well, there could be aliens. And the government's released, and the Navy has released this film footage, and that could be a who knows thing. But we still are stupid as hell. No, we don't have the right idea about it.
Why do you say partially clothed? It's not like they had machines to make t-shirts and jumpers. The biggest thing and most available to them in this time frame was fig leaves. They clothed themselves.
It's calling our present understanding of like space and the total reality and the existence of God and the possibility of aliens. It's calling that fig leaves, like crappy clothes.
It doesn't say crappy clothes. It says clothes.
You know what a fig leaf is?
The only thing available for them to clothe themselves with.
But do you know what describe a fig leaf?
Small little leaf.
Yeah.
Big giant leaf. I don't know what was available in the time that
is it like solid? Is it like split into fingers? Is it soft? Is it flexible? Is it durable?
Richard, I don't matter what it looks like. I'm telling you what the text says to me here. That it's clothed. It didn't say crappy clothing.
It is clothing, sure.
But you're adding the crappy.
Well, there's other kinds of plants that would have been available that could have been used as some kind of apron or clothing.
How do you know?
And most of the leaves of broadleaf plants would have been better than a flippin' fig leaf. A fig leaf is the worst one you could possibly choose. For instance, burdock leaves. They're very flexible. They have a high oil content. They don't dry out easily. Tobacco leaves are like that.
We call them docking leaves. And if you're ever stuck in a field, you need some toilet paper. Farmer.
That's what I've used it. I lived in the Appalachian Mountains where there is docking.
Sure.
They're very durable. It's got little bitty tiny spines on the wrong side.
Yeah.
So you want to be sure what side you use.
Fucking do.
You want to put the rough side on your hand, but that's good because it's like a non-slip grip.
According to Cryptomeria, fig leaves are like leather. And I would assume that it's maybe not one fig leaf then. If it's like leather, you could sew it together.
The problem is that they actually are curled too, and they don't want to flatten out. And on the exposed side that's curled away is spines. Little cactus hairs.
Well, look, I don't understand why they aren't able to treat it. As you said, these people knew how to look after things. The guy who taught them was in charge of all of these different places and taught all these things.
because it's figurative. It's talking about our knowledge of good and evil here.
It's figurative, yes, and it doesn't say crappy clothing. It says clothed, and you're adding the crappy to it because
Well,
your opinion.
I think fig leaves make crappy clothing.
In your opinion, is there any?
Yes, this is all my opinion.
And I'm here to disagree with it.
Okay, well, you're welcome to try. I tell you what, I would challenge you to make a comfortable clothing article that touches your skin of fig leaves. I'll send you some money so you can order some fresh fig leaves.
Thanks very much. I appreciate that. I'll see if I can squeeze it in between work, my daughter, and my depressive naps. We'll see.
And a life. Yeah. We can see if we can get a fig leaf apron in there. I don't think you'll wear it. And aside from that, I'm kind of cheating because I know he's about to give them sheep skin clothings, leather clothing, which is just evidently softer, more durable, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't dry out quickly.
I do believe the point is missed, but it don't matter. Doesn't matter what the material is. If you use the phrase "it's figurative," then you can throw out the word "fig" and you can put anything in that you want because it's figurative.
Anything not premium. You could put in anything not premium there.
Under your definition, yes, I agree with you.
A grass skirt.
Loincloths, you know.
Loincloths are pretty good, I think. That's as good as a bikini. But anyway, that's just me. Okay, so the whole idea is it's not good enough.
Right. Get to freaking end of 21 here, right? Read this. We're going to highlight it. That's where we're going to be because we've been going for nearly 2 hours.
Well, I've been enjoying it because I didn't even know I had been that long. I didn't even want a cigarette yet.
In all honesty, I have the full stock take tomorrow and I start work at 8 and I finish at 10.
The full stock take. Let's see. That's Irish for I've got to do a lot of inventory at work.
Yes. And I started on Monday and I'm only about a third of the way through.
So I've got 2/3 more to do and I'm expected to do it in one day?
There will be 5 of us. And the store is closing at 12. So we will have a good chunk of time to do it and people are coming.
So from lunch on, the 6 of you have to inventory thousands upon thousands of items.
Before the end of the week, because there is a company, the auditing company is coming in next week to check everything. This is the one huge stock take of the fucking year. I have went through and been counting so many things today. So many things. Unbelievable. And then they'll just randomly walk through with 1 million pages and go, let's count that.
Right there. Let's count that one.
And if it's wrong, it's okay. If it's wrong and over, oh, you're over exaggerating. We need to investigate more. Let's pick 6 other things now. So, so I have that tomorrow. So that's why we went a wee bit early tonight, you know.
Sure, it's fine. I understand.
So,
which
no
means we
after
should
party
actually,
for me.
which the idea is to quit early tonight as well. That's part of the idea of starting early.
Yes. So not 1 in the morning, ending at 12, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
and when she had first covered her shame with fig leaves,
the shitty, crappy fig leaves that they are.
Crappy fig leaves with spikes on the back. She gave thereof to Adam, and he eat, and his eyes were opened, and he saw that he was naked as well.
Now, do you take this as Adam being the main male progenitor, sort of, you know, as in the female is just one person and the male is society? How do you see this giving the...
I see this as women as a whole motivate men as a whole. And I just think that's true.
Wow. Okay. Not gonna
I personally, speaking for myself, if there was no such thing as women and I could just get fatter and split off and have a kid and there was no sex or motivation for sexual ritual, dude, are you kidding me? I wouldn't cut my hair. I wouldn't, I don't know. I'm not sure I'd wipe my butt. I just don't know if I would even do most of the things I do if it wasn't for
Well,
females.
to a certain degree, I will make this statement. And I will say that being in relationships do help people. Being together with another person does help people. Finding that happiness and wanting to look good for your partner because your partner wants to look good for you, and back and forth and all the rest of it. And at the same time, after 20 years, man, you'll still get fat. You'll still get ugly. You know, my dad's married ages. He can't bend over now. He gets spare tire, you know. People get fat and old regardless. Oh, I know. And you ain't got no woman in your life.
No.
And you ain't after no woman under 3,000 years, and you still keep yourself fit.
Yep.
So you're disproving the statement you just made.
We have choices. No, this is talking about great averages. Yeah.
You're the exception that proves the rule, Richard.
This is genetic. I don't even do it on purpose. I don't even diet. I eat whatever the hell I eat I'll sit down and eat a whole chocolate cake.
Oh. What annoys me now is I can't sleep in the sofa as much as I used to be able to, like, pass out in front of the TV and comfy and all the rest of it. It might be the sofa being old, but I get a little pain in my back and have to do stretches in the morning and stuff, like, which is annoying. But other than that, I'm pretty healthy. I need to give these up. I've literally a few months in these. I've been moving on to rolly tobacco and smoking less in the rolly tobacco. I've got to August. Promised my daughter 40th birthday. Daddy, no smoke no more.
You promised her.
Yeah.
Well, now you're screwed. Now you got to do it.
I promised her, announced it on Twitter, announced it on YouTube. Oh yeah. No, I'm fucked.
Oh,
man.
good.
I don't know.
No, go make the whole commitment. Go promise everyone that matters to you. Go promise them all, and more than that, promise yourself.
Oh no. Yeah, like I told Elena, you know, Daddy wants to be around when you get married. I want to walk her down the aisle. You know, right. I told it to my best friend that I know, like, you know. I say best friend in real life, you know, a guy I've known since high school and stuff and all. And he's like, Robbie, I've been wanting to tell you for like fucking 6 months, 7 months or something. Do you know how bad smoking is? Like, I know, fuck off. Like, you know. Says the man who did every drug under the sun for like 5 years, but he can go fuck himself. Anyway.
5 years though, just 5 years. He quit.
I'm randomly arbitrary putting numbers out there, you know.
Okay, so what I think this is saying is that we're motivated by each other for like social and sexual reasons, which I think nobody would argue with.
Yes, and I'm saying that it doesn't necessarily have to be women, but your statement is very specific to you. And it's a slightly misogynistic statement that I'm going to disagree with.
I still think it's true on average.
Okay, you can make... Yes, I will say it's true on average. There's more straight people in the world than there is other people.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it...
Statistically, it's a very high percentage.
It's not a biased statistic at all.
No, it's not a biased statistic. I mean, if you, as long as you say there's a gradation that you're going to call straight, fine.
Okay, well, we'll do the exact same poll you're talking about in the community of people that we hang in, and I guarantee you it will be completely different. It all depends.
Go ahead, put the poll up there. Motivation by the opposite sex. Go ahead.
We've lost 7 viewers. All the cool people have left, you know.
There's 13 left. That's an odd number.
I will do it on Twitter, and that would be more representation.
Okay, fine. Get back to me on the results on
somebody that. Remind me. Right.
Say goodnight, Robbie.
Good night,
Close
Robbie.
the show, man.
No, you didn't even.
Robbie.
I know we're doing that anyway. Make your point. Who is Letitia's Libertine that I have given a spanner to that's proud of me that I don't know who they are? Did you change your name? I don't know.
It's not me.
Richard, shill yourself. What's happening tomorrow, Mac?
Yeah, we got Mac and hopefully Zebra if his sleep schedule works out, and that's 10 o'clock Mountain Time. Who knows what they're going to ask me? They never ask me the same thing twice. I have no idea.
Sammy, just to point out, Chris that works, he doesn't. It's Sammy, right? Doesn't matter. This is totally pointed, and then we will end. Chris that works, you know Chris with a K. Chris, the foreign guy, does all the big, massive tandems. Really good welder. He was asking about you today. So, I said that you usually turn up on a stream, and I would tell you that he said hello if you did. So, hello from Chris to Sammy. So, he's got that. I'll promise a Saturday and don't know what's happening on Saturdays. Stu lives here now, as you know, and Stu started this thing called Cider Saturdays, where like he buys his takeaway and cider, and then we drink when the daughter's not here. Usually can't stream after that, and I have so many pictures I'm going to share with you after this stream ends, Richard. I've got like a big sticker on his head that says, "I'm a huge penis, I threw water on him." Cunt passed out. Gone. Just gone. Love yous all. Thanks everybody for coming. And don't forget, nothing me and Richard said is gospel. Think for yourselves. Come back next week. We'll have an expert to tell us we're both fucking wrong. Bye bye. Cool. Why am I doing this? What is this? Am I a surfer dude? Bye.